So we're going to talk a little bit about the vocabulary of integers and absolute value. The first term is difference, and we'll be going over 11 terms. So the difference is the result of a subtraction expression. So for example, something like 10 minus 7. Well, the result is 3. So 3 is the difference between 10 and 7. Second vocab term, debt. Debt is something that is owed or must be paid back, particularly money. So if I go to the bank and I take out $100 as a loan, this becomes essentially a $100 debt, usually expressed as a negative number. So I owe that money back. Next term, our third term, is sum. That's the result of an addition expression. So for example, if I were to do 7 plus 4, that equals 11. 11 is the sum. That is the answer to an addition expression. Our fourth term, product, that is the result of a multiplication expression. Here's an example. If I were to do 5 times 3, the product of 5 times 3 is 15. Moving on to the fifth term we'll be discussing here, fifth vocabulary term. This is quotient. And a quotient is the result of a division expression. For example, if I were to conduct 12 divided by 3, the quotient of that problem is 4. Okay. Sixth term, we're more than halfway there, additive inverses. Those are a pair of numbers that add up to equals 0. In other words, they're opposites, okay? So here's an example. Let's take the number 7 and also the number negative 7. These numbers together, they are additive inverses, because when you put them together, or when you add them, so for example, if I did 7 plus negative 7, okay, the sum would equal 0, and therefore they are additive inverses. The next term, positive integers. Okay, positive integers are just numbers that have a value greater than 0. So if on the number line, it's all the numbers to the right are positive integers. Absolute value, okay, that is essentially the number of spaces a number is from 0. So consider a number line, okay, and consider the number 10. Well, 10 is 10 spaces away from 0. You know, if you were to count all the way back to 0, you would have to count 10 spaces. So in other words, the absolute value of 10 is 10. Okay, now the other side of that is negative 10 is also 10 spaces from 0, isn't it? If you were to space it out, you would have to move 10 spaces to get from negative 10 to 0. So the absolute value of negative 10 is also 10. A lot of times in math, the notation for absolute value when you're being asked looks like this, where you have these absolute value bars. Okay, so where I'm highlighting right now, if you see that, that means you have to tell what the absolute value of the number inside the bars is, and the answer would be, in this case, 10. Okay, so our ninth vocab term is going to be negative integers. Okay, those are integers with values less than 0. So on a number line, it's going to be all the numbers to the left of 0. Okay. Opposites. Okay, this is like additive inverses. Okay, they're a pair of numbers that are the same distance from 0 on a number line, but they're on opposite sides of a number line. So for example, we have 7 and -7. They're both the same number of spaces away from 0, but they're on opposite sides of 0, as you can see. Okay, and also they are additive inverses because they equal 0. Those are opposites. And finally, integers. Okay, integers are all of the whole numbers. Okay, so all the whole numbers meaning 1, 2, 3, 4, and counting up as many whole numbers as you can through infinity. All right, along with their opposites. So that would be -1, -2, -3, -4, and counting on and on and on until you essentially go to negative infinity. And the number 0. Okay, 0 is included as the classification of integers. Okay, and that is it for this presentation on integers and absolute value vocabulary.